Part 2 of CrossMomentum is here. I've had a fair few comments on both the video and my Discord server asking why exactly I split up into two videos when it really wasn't too long of a video anyway. And the simple answer is that I've barely had a few seconds to record any audio. Very loud building work has started around my house, and every time I think it's stopped for a few minutes, it boots back up in the middle of the recording. So now I've hopefully cleared up as why there's been such a long delay for what will end up being an 8 to 10 minute video that I split up into two parts anyway. Let's begin. Of course, the first character we should discuss on this list is Sonic, considering he is the main character of the game and all of that. All of his character specific changes affect his thock, which seems fair. After all, Sonic is objectively the simplest moveset in the game. There wasn't much else you could have changed without the mod straying too far away from the vanilla experience. His thock is now noticeably more affected by momentum, getting faster as you get faster. Part of the reason I feel Sonic is quite a stiff character in the vanilla game is because his thock stays at pretty much the same speed at all times, which makes using it at high speeds feel a lot less exciting than it perhaps should do. I know that might sound strange, but making it faster makes it feel a lot more natural to use, which is actually something the entire mod does very well. Holding the thock now causes Sonic to do a jump thock, giving him a little extra height that might help you reach platforms you might have missed. This makes a thock a little better as a recovery tool, as a common complaint about the vanilla version is that it doesn't really have much of a niece. It throws you too fast and you drop too quickly to really make it useful for recovery. You can't use it for many shortcuts, another problem this new version does better, and the spin dash is usually better for reaching your top speed quickly. Sonic, like every other vanilla character, and seemingly every single modded character as well, has a new Hyperform based off Mr. Caesar from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. After the standard changes like extra speed and jump height, near immortality and a new theme tune, Sonic can now also fly. Just press jump and spin at the same time to start flying, which you can ascend or descend during by pressing those same buttons respectively. Once you've started the flight, pressing those buttons again will cause you to boost, at which point you can give up on controlling Sonic because he finally reaches uncontrollable speeds. It looks like it does the screen clearing explosion the original version had when used, but enemies below you still seem to survive, so either the range is too short or the initial burst is too similar to the original version. Overall, this is probably the most thought out Hyperform, because the others are kinda lazy in their execution. Tails, like Sonic, essentially gets a more fluid version of his original ability, flight bursts. Now, instead of one long flight, you get 3 quick upwards bursts of height that keep your momentum. They don't necessarily help you gain or redirect speed in any way, but they are very useful for keeping up speed while taking shortcuts, certainly better than the original version was. It's also quite well balanced. While not quite as OP as the original flight is, it's still powerful enough that Tails is still essentially the easy mode of the game. He also has the ability to quickly burst downwards, which lets you home in on springs and or item boxes without needing to tediously wait to fall to the ground. You can also hold spin to have a more constant quick fall, in case you wanted to do that to have a faster burst. Even the mod description admits that Hyper Tails is a bit lazy in how they approach his new abilities. He now has infinite flight bursts. Pretty straightforward, as the mod does say, but it feels the mod could have done so much more. The bursts don't seem any more powerful than their original state, quickfall doesn't seem any quicker, and you could add small explosions when you use these bursts. I don't know, I just feel like this form might have been more rushed compared to the others. Knuckles, Fang and Metal Sonic all have pretty minor changes to their moveset outside of Hyperforms, so we're going to quickly fire them off. All of Knuckles' changes just means he loses less momentum when landing or cancelling a glide, meaning gliding isn't basically a death sentence for your momentum. Good change. Fang can now use his gun on land or in the air and can use it at any speed. Good change. Should be in the vanilla game anyway. Metal Sonic can no longer lose dash mode while airborne. I can certainly see why the change was added, considering it even says in the description there's tweaked so dash mode can be kept in platforming areas, but I don't really think it makes any sense, and it means you have no real motivation to not be constantly gliding. At least the Hyperforms are a little better than Tails. Knuckles' glide is now essentially like a laser pointer, as it now no longer loses any height. Multi-glide is back, praise the lords, and gliding is just generally faster. Finally, you cause a little explosion around you every time you start climbing, but there are very few areas where this is useful anyway. I couldn't figure out how to enter Fang's Hyperform due to the transformation apparently not taking priority over his gun, but apparently he no longer has a delay between shots and nukes the screen when using his tail bounce. Metal Sonic becomes Hyper Metal Sonic from the OVA. His hover now slowly raises you upwards, and he nukes the screen every time he reaches dash mode. Also, nice touch that he plays Stardust Speedway instead of the standard hyper music. Amy is probably the most tweaked character, as her moveset is essentially built back up from the ground, so you can now make use of the Amy Copter, a quick burst of momentum in whichever direction it is used in. The ability is certainly useful, but I find it occasionally launches me towards the camera rather than the direction I was actually heading in. I do think this was due to my controller recently developing some drifting problems more than an actual problem with the mod though. Bouncing off enemies will allow you to Amy Copter again, and she now has a hammer jump if you jump while using the grounded hammer attack, although I only found this out while writing the script, so I don't know how useful this ability actually is. Finally, and thank the heavens for this, Frostykin was kind enough to keep power springing, which in combination with the new trick system makes for some very powerful leaps. Amy's Hyperform is probably the second least thought out after Tails'. The Amy Copter can now be used for an infinite duration of time, and a hammer jump is now obscenely powerful, almost to a fault. There really isn't any change in how you approach the character after transforming to Hyper Amy, which means he feels less thought out than the others, especially compared to how different her original form is to the vanilla character. It's a bit of a shame that is how the review ends, considering it's one of the few weak points about the mod. Up until now, the furthest I've ever gone with recommending a mod is that I strongly recommend it. But after playing CrossMomentum, I think it's one of those mods that people will claim to be essential. It is for what SRB2, what Optifine is for Minecraft, or what the Calamity is for Terraria. One of those mods that become so popular within their communities that it's almost a given that people are using it. And while I didn't cover them in this review, it should also be commended just how many mods are compatible with this. Seemingly every mod seems to have a little disclaimer at the bottom of the page discussing how their character gets a Hyperform, and the fact that so many community members deem it worth investing time into compatibility really speaks volumes about the quality of this mod. Perfect 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and ciao.